What's going on, people? Welcome to the morning view. Good morning. How you lot doing? It's not match day reloaded. It's a little bit of a morning view, a little bit of transfer news. We're going to talk about yesterday's match as well. Talk about what's going on. But bright-eyed, bushy tailed, and we say morning, man.
I'm good. Good morning. I always like the morning view theme song as well. It's a nice sort of, it's not too hard. You know what I mean? Sometimes in the morning, you can't hear something a little bit too high. So it's just a little bit nice. You know, the sun is rising. The temperatures, they're getting a bit warmer as well. It's turning into weather view at this point in time. Yes. But look, it's nice. It's nice. Football back. Clubs football's back. And it was back with a bang last night too. An enjoyable game. I had a really good time last night. I don't know about you.
It was fun, man. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun doing a match view like that. You know, all of us tuned in. It was good being back. It was just good to have a nice first team game. And just man, it was good vibes. Comments and the community were on point last night as well, man.
Yeah, and also like this the sin bin introduction, which we did not know was going to happen. And I tell you what, and I know Josh will end up watching this. He threw his weight around last night. It was a disgrace. It was a cheat.
Yeah, it was a proper like, well, I'm in charge. I'm on the buttons. None of you lot know how to work this, so I do what I want, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I'm not happy with it. I was in prison twice. I did nothing wrong. One of them, I dared to call him out because he didn't change the scoreboard. You know, so go back and watch it, and then you can free Owen, even though I'm free right now. But I'll never be free from Josh.
You'll never be free from. No one's free from Josh. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'm going to big up some of the comments just shortly, but we are going to be talking about Ten Hag's transfer priority list. We're going to talk about the things that we think he must get versus what we think he wants, you know, versus how important it is to get things over the line versus if we don't get certain, you know, positions sorted in this January transfer window, what would it look like? And we're going to be talking a little bit about Marcus Rashford last night as well. I think he was really good. And some of the challenges that are ahead for this squad in terms of going forward for the rest of this season. So that's what we got, pack show this morning. I just want to go through some of you guys' comments to big you got up in the community. Sophia's Football Talk, good morning, lads. Big up to you, Sophia. Thank you. And Just Kevin says, where is Marcel? I want to talk about Dubravka. Yes, we will have a Dubravka conversation as well. Is Marcel still in the sin bin? Says JP. He is. And Chris says, good morning. And JP also says, running at Christmas like Rashford at the Burnley defense as well. So, yeah, if you want your comments read out, get involved in the chat if you're watching, and we'll get them read out for you. Transfer priorities. Owen,
yes.
What must Eric Ten Hag get? What must we get in January? What's a priority?
He needs... And I think he's within his rights to go to the board and say, I need an attacker of sorts. Now, I want to be very careful how I use my terminology here, Flex, because when you talk about replacing Ronaldo, people would go, how dare you cannot replace Cristiano, whoever you bring up. When you say, oh, you got to bring in Cody Gakpo to replace Ronaldo, they go, replace Ronaldo, Cody. Who do you think?
Wait, hold on. I've been away for a month, right, in Qatar. Is that still happening? That can't still be happening.
There's pushback. There's a lot of pushback. You got to be choose your words carefully, okay? Very, very carefully. I've seen people. Oh, don't even let me bring up Piers Morgan. Okay, I don't even think he's real.
But he was trolling.
He's trolling. He's got to be trolling.
Throughout the Twitter thing when he was saying about the Messi thing before the final, and come on, it's Piers Morgan. Come on. You can't
touch his hair. Remember. The thing is, so much has happened since like the early stages of the World Cup. Remember the whole it touched his hair.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Ridiculous.
But anyway,
I was there and watched it about 100 million times and still couldn't.
Yeah, it's a side point. What Ten Hag needs is what Ten Hag needs is an attacker because there's a gap there. We are a body lighter in those attacking areas. And whether you believe or not Ronaldo was the answer or could contribute or couldn't contribute or whatever, you're still a player light. And last night was a great example. Martial went down a couple of times. We all held our breath. Thankfully, he's fine. But we know for the rest of the season, even if he remains fit, he can't play every game. There's just too many of them. So then it raises the question, because as soon as Martial went off last night, we're going, right, who's playing up front now? Is it Rashford? Rashford played in every position last night. He played right wing, left wing, played up front for a half second as well. So we need an attacker, and I do think, as we've said before, I do think that is Cody Gakpo. The reason I say it is because I do think he plugs all of those gaps. I think we've seen the key thing for him is versatility. Whilst we're in the situation whereby we are still light in all of those areas, even if we get Cody Gakpo, you still could make an argument of probably need another right winger, or even on the left-hand side, you need someone, you may need someone with a different profile. Definitely need another striker, and I think we'll go big for a striker in the summer. I think Cody Gakpo is that guy because he can play in all of those positions. He's attainable. That's the key thing too, because there's only a select few players available in January. So I think that would be what he needs. If you're going to say best case scenario, then you start talking about, wouldn't you, right backs? You'd say maybe, you'd probably say another centre back. We only had one last night, So that's what you'd probably look at. But as I said before, I still would not be shocked, Flex, to bring this full circle on this sort of weird tangent I've gone on. I would not be shocked if come the end of January, we didn't get anyone.
I said that, I think I said it when the Ronaldo thing was starting to kick off. I think it was to KG, and KG was like, nah, we have to. We could get top 4 and stuff like that. And then it comes a question of like, if we don't get anyone, how much does that ruin top 4 chances? And I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. We don't really know, because if it all depends on, fitness and form and stuff like that. With the squad we currently have, right, without Ronaldo, the options we have up front, I would say we're kind of light. I would say we're light because the Sancho situation is going on. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. Garnacho is a young kid and he's only just coming through, and you can see the reluctance from Erik ten Hag to kind of not give him his flowers, but not keep him on track with the mentality and keep reminding us that, he's young and he's got to do this and that. We can't take that Garnacho thing for granted, that we're really lucky to have him. We're really lucky to, have somebody that we can look at and say, this guy looks like he's going to be it. But it's the first few months of his, senior career. Let's be real. So to say that he's going to play all of the games or be in and out amongst the fold, it looks like he will, and he should be if he keeps doing the things that he's doing. But because he's so young and it's his first season, that could change. You never know. And as we've seen with Erik ten Hag, he ain't afraid to take players out of the firing line or pull the reins in a little bit if they're getting a little bit too carried away. So we are light. So, depending on how that happens, we could still get 4th if we didn't get anyone. It doesn't mean the season's over. But if we don't bolster, I agree with you, Owen. If we don't bolster, we are leaving ourselves short. We are tempting fate because, tempting chance, because if somebody pops down with an injury or someone's out of form, there's a lot. Anthony's, cost a lot of money. Pretty much got the right hand side locked down. If he goes for a patch where he's not really doing anything, and that
does he though? After last night,
well, there you go. I mean, look at Rashford on the right. We've spoke about Rashford on the right and how basically he can't play there for us, right? Well, I know I have anyway, and how, usually when he plays there for us, he just never looks comfortable. Okay, it was against Burnley yesterday, and he was against defenders that gave him a lot of time and space, and obviously, it's not as intense as being in the Premier League, but he still had to do what he did. Against a stubborn Burnley side. But did he prove that there's something in that there? Did he prove that actually in confidence he can do it and he can be like a new player? But back to the transfer thing, because we're not really talking about Rashford yet, we will do. Back to the transfer thing, we do need to get a forward. I absolutely do. And the right back situation, do we have to get a right back? And I know I went to jail for it yesterday, but I just looked at Wan-Bissaka's performance, and I didn't say this is why we're wrong to try and sell him, because he's amazing and he has got a touch. Everybody was wrong, and he is good on the ball. You was all wrong. That wasn't my point. My point was, before I got locked up, is he showing that actually as a backup, even with
I don't want to do a spit take. I'm wondering where you're going to go with this. I don't want to be.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because we have to try and get a forward at best, is it better to just keep him where he is? Let his price do what it is. Give him a few games and just deal with that in the summer and put a little bit more resource and eggs into the basket of getting this forward. Or is it no? If West Ham come, let him go for the 15, bring back Ethan Lett and all that. Is that? I'm just asking.
Yeah, and you're right to ask. These are questions that need to be asked. But the answer, I think, is that Wan-Bissaka might be critical to getting that attacking player in, because with Ronaldo's exits, yes, we've saved some money, but I don't think we've saved enough to buy someone in January. If it's Cody Gakpo, that price is escalating every day. So I don't really know what it is. It might be like 50 million. So you could say it might need to be Ronaldo money plus Wan-Bissaka exit money. Put them together,
Cody
Gakpo, and then look, you got to bring Ethan Laird back, get Ethan Laird back. I mean, last night that might have been great. He played well last night, and it wasn't even just his assist was really good, but I saw some close ball control that was all right for him. You know,
he played well yesterday.
Really condescending, but you know, but he did play well yesterday, and this is what we always say, don't we? I mean, it's like the Harry Maguire thing. At the end of the day, I think people like to use hyperbole quite a lot, but these are still footballers. You know, they can still play.
But acting like what happens is when there's players that are out of favour, and rightly so. I'm not saying Maguire should be back. You're all wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when players are out of favour, it's like we've never won a football match with them playing. That's not the discussion. The discussion is long term with how we want to play and where we want to be.
Yeah.
Is this player the right one? If the player has to play for a little bit, it doesn't mean we're going to lose.
It's like I remember when it was against Liverpool Arsenal when Maguire came on as a substitute for the last 5 minutes.
I think it was Liverpool. No, it was Arsenal because Casemiro got him put straight away. Man.
You would have thought like he came on and the whole stadium like literally went,
yeah.
And I thought, oh my God.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I just feel like, again, I'm not saying that Wan-Bissaka is good enough for the long term. But in the short term, if he has to play a game or two, if he had to play against Forest,
you're saying for 6 extra months or 6 extra months.
that's what I'm saying. But the point of what you're saying there, of where more realistically with budgets and like you said, it could be difficult to get what we want. To raise 45 million quid, you could argue it might come out of summer's budget, but then in summer we would probably have the new owners. By then, you're assuming we do anyway, you know, because they're saying about the first quarter. Of it being sorted, but I just feel like, well, would that be absolutely shocking? But Show Ramen, it says here, let's get into some comments actually. Show Ramen says absolutely not. 6 extra months of Aaron Wan-Bissaka is too risky. Aaron Wan-Bissaka probably has 6 months to save his United career. He's made a good start. Siciliano, that's an interesting take. Not many people saying he can save his career. They're just seeing it as, does he go in the summer or does he go now? He's going. I mean, is it now or later?
It does feel like, doesn't it, that Ten Hag has made his mind up, and
he's made his mind up. He can't be in the long term. He can't be in a long term plan.
It's just a question of whether he goes, like you said, now or it's the summer. Yeah. I still say with the Ethan Laird thing, and I know people go, "You're spoiling his development. You'll ruin him." But actually, if Ethan Laird comes back now, right? Diogo Dalot's injured, hamstring. That's what, at least a couple of weeks, maybe a bit longer. We don't know the severity of it. I don't think he'll ever have the opportunity to play as many games at right back as he'd have now if he came back now. You know, he could have a good rest of the season at QPR, but if he comes back in the summer, chances are we're going to buy a new right back in the summer, and he won't play. He'll go back out on loan. With youth players and academy players, yes, it's about talent, and you can get these generational talents and talents that shine through, like a Garnacho. But other talents, youth football, academy football, it's about luck. It's about opportunity. A space just happens to open up. Injuries, suspensions, managerial appointments, bad form, whatever. And when you get your opportunity, you have to kick the door down and make it your own. Well, look, but someone like Anthony Elanga, you know, the general consensus is probably not good enough to play for Manchester United, honestly. But last season he got in, not because he was a great player, but everyone around him was playing pretty bad. There was a couple of injuries, and he worked his way into the team. And he's managed to play some senior games for Manchester United because of it. And that could be the same with Ethan Laird. You know, he could come back. He could be like Dalot's injured. Suddenly he plays a couple of good games. And I'm not saying he's going to kick Dalot out of his spot, but then suddenly the right back position actually isn't as big of a priority because you're happy with your options. You know, when Malacia came in the summer, everyone said, "Oh, backup option." And yes, he's sort of fallen back into an understudy figure, but it's still relatively close between him and Luke Shaw. If Shaw doesn't play, you're not like, "Oh no, Malacia's playing," and vice versa. So my point being is that I think Laird should come back because I think it'll be almost the best opportunity he might get in his entire United career to play games.
It's let me get Lil Yo-Yo says, not gonna lie, Bissaka needs to go. Brockfoot is chronic, like it's long term. He's not gonna get rid of it. So.
Severe condition. Condition.
Owen is right. I think we forget why Rashford got into the team under Van Gaal. Says Paris. Big up to you. You see on the Ethan Laird thing, right? You're saying come back, bring him back halfway through. He's been at QPR. Isn't it a bigger risk to bring in a young player halfway through when they haven't been with the squad? They haven't been part of the principles, the things that he's trying to do. I see that more. I see it more as like a. I don't know. I don't know. I see that more as like an emergency thing. If something really happened to all of the players, and you can call back your loan player. I just feel that Ten Hag would leave that situation as it is. I just feel that if there's going to be a plan for Wan-Bissaka, I don't think it would be bringing Ethan Laird back out of his development, out of there, bring him into United halfway through, get him going. And I'm not saying it would even be a horrible thing. You're right. I agree with a lot of what you said of how it could be beneficial for him. But just from the other side of it, I'm like, well, I just don't think Ten Hag would do that. I think he would go with the thing of, well, we've got Eduardo out, he's doing well. We've got Laird out, he's doing well. You know, Hannibal's doing well at Birmingham. They're doing well. Let's just leave them if we can. I think here's one for you. I think if we can't get another right back, if Wan-Bissaka goes, I think he'll be happy to keep him till the end of the year.
I don't think he'll shoot himself in the foot. I don't think he'll be like.
I don't think he'll upset the balance.
I don't think he'll be like, I'm going to let go Wan-Bissaka and then get nobody, because that would just be naive, wouldn't it? Because that will come back to bite us. I mean, we've said it all season, haven't we, with Dalot? He can't play every game. Eventually, yes, he's Iron Man, and yes, his stamina is incredible, but he just physically cannot do it. And I don't want to see Terrell. I don't want to see Terrell Malacia being shifted to right back, because I know he can do a job there, but he's still left-footed and. I just don't. I know people have done it in the past. I'm just not a fan of right-footed left backs.
No. At fullback.
I prefer it to be the right foot on the right side. But as Cecil says there, he was part of pre-season, and the thing is, I'm
so was Anikbao and Charlie, and they didn't.
Hesitant. Well, Anikbao should be playing more minutes.
Exactly, but that's my point. He was part. They were both part of the pre-season
But the competition is way more fierce in those positions. If you're saying Anikbao, who are you saying over? Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, even people like McTominay.
But none of them are going to get through.
We're not in a situation where it's like we've got one. It's not like a situation where we're like. But it's not like a situation where we're going. There's only one midfielder. You know, if Wan-Bissaka goes, there's one right back. There's only one person ahead of him, and he's injured at the moment. So, but by proxy, he would play. I mean, I guess people say Brandon Williams as well, but I reckon he goes in January. Brandon Williams. I reckon he's an example of a player that he didn't go. Him and people like Twan Zebi didn't go in the summer. I don't think just because they were injured, because they couldn't get moved because they were hurt. I think if they're fit, I think they go.
Yeah, I agree. I just think Ten Hag made his mind up that Ethan Laird's best thing for this year was to not be with this squad. I don't think panic halfway through a season, and not that it has to be panic. Maybe that's a bit of a strong word, but I don't think a change of heart through halfway through a season when he's been playing at QPR and doing well is that Ten Hag goes, I'm bringing him back and he's going to play for us halfway through the season. I don't think that's just not Ten Hag's style. I can't see. I would almost say there's no chance of him doing that. No chance. I can't see that at all. I honestly would say, I honestly would put my neck on the line here. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We'll be looking back on this video and I'll be like, wow, never saw that coming. I think there's no chance of Ten Hag letting Wan-Bissaka go and recalling Ethan Laird to say, you come in and fill in for the rest of the season. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that. I'm not saying that's a disgrace and a cheat and that we shouldn't do that. I just don't think Ten Hag will do that. I just think Ten Hag looked at it in the summer. Okay. He made his mind up on Wan-Bissaka quite early that he wasn't going to play for him, even in the preseason.
Very early, yeah.
Ethan Laird was there and hardly played as well. So it wasn't exactly like, he played a couple of games. He did okay. He did okay. But I think it was very quick and sharp. You're going to go QPR for the year. You're going to play the championship. You need games. Let's get you up to speed. That was what was decided with him, because he wasn't good. He wasn't deemed good enough to contribute to the first team. What was best for his development was to go out and play a whole year in champ, which actually we all agreed with, to be fair.
Yeah.
He had a lot of injuries last year. Where was he? Bournemouth. I think it was a bit of MK Dons. Is it Derby?
Yeah.
Was he? No,
and he was going to go, and he was originally going to go to Watford, wasn't he? And then it fell through really quickly.
And it fell through, exactly. And that would have been a nice move for Watford. Look, they've got Slaven Bilic now. They're starting to build. They're doing really well. So, but he's found a nice little spot at QPR, as Mina said on the loan view, really well. He's one of our standouts. Obviously, Ahmad's doing really well, etc., etc. But my point is, I just think he's been decided as doing that. to bring him in halfway through the season, and I know people say he was on the preseason tour was ages ago. The squad's been through so much that's different in that.
Yeah.
If he came back, okay, cool, just to fill the bench like Zidane Iqbal does every game, or like Charlie Savage might do, or some of the youngsters. But I think there's no chance of him doing it. I think he would rather keep him because Wan-Bissaka is still experienced. If you had to, let's just keep it real. If you had to play Wan-Bissaka, right, and this is me being deadly honest, right, with what I've seen because of the experience of the players. If there was an injury to Dalot, right, and you had to play Wan-Bissaka or Ethan Laird right now, I'm playing Wan-Bissaka. I am. Because the timeline of him being here, he hasn't been in the first team, he hasn't played in the big games. I'm not saying he can't, and you do have to start somewhere. But now, like yesterday, we've got to play Burnley or thing, we'll just play Wan-Bissaka, mate. It'll be fine.
Yeah, right. I mean, like if you think about, like, say, that Barcelona game in February, right? If you're going to the new camp and Dalot's injured,
you want to play Ethan Laird or you want to play Wan-Bissaka?
Yeah, you'd play Wan-Bissaka. He played against like PSG at the Parc des Princes on that night, didn't he? That's what you would do.
If anything, he'll be good. I'll tell you what, mate. Ansu Fati's on the left-hand side. Clamp him so he don't go nowhere. That's actually when you want a Wan-Bissaka, if you ever are going to need him.
Well, actually, you say that. I reckon in that instance, he'd play Malacia at right back and
probably
at left back. Yeah,
probably
he would. No, actually, he would because he's done it already this season.
Yeah, exactly. Fletch, would you play Aaron Wan-Bissaka over Brandon? Absolutely. You absolutely would.
Yeah, I would.
100%. I would. Michael says Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a good defender, and Ed says wouldn't go that far. Flex. I would give Laird his shot over Wan-Bissaka. So that's what I just feel like with young players. Obviously, we want to see him do well when we don't have obviously the proof because they haven't played yet as to whether they're good enough. But I don't know. In the reality of the like senior pros, who've got like over 200 appearances and shit like that, like. You play them over any day of the week over like a kid who hasn't played. But
and to divert back to the original point when it comes to that is if you do keep Wan-Bissaka, then your primary focus is getting that attacker in January.
Do you see what I mean? Because I feel that's so important. That's why I'm like, I don't think we've got it in us to go to sort that plus, But again, if they loaned him, does it help us? Because if they loaned him to say like a West Ham or something. I don't really think that helps us because, like you said, who's going to be the right back? I don't think they're going to say Ethan Laird come back. So who's it going to be? And would Ten Hag leave himself even more short by saying, I've got Shaw and Malacia and Lindelof? So we wouldn't do that. That's silly to do that. You may as well keep Wan-Bissaka to the summer then. Still a right back.
They talk about they go get Denzel Dumfries. You go, okay, in January that'll be easy after the World Cup. Like that's going to be really difficult. And they're talking about Frimpong as well, but by all accounts that feels like maybe a summer transfer as opposed to a January one. I mean, we really have to remember the financial situation at United is there's no money. There's nothing. So. Like, again, the attacker one, my concern with the Cody Gakpo thing is that, one, the price is spiraling. And sometimes as United fans, we get so blinkered that we don't think about other clubs. We ain't the only club in for Cody Gakpo in January. You kidding me? After a good World Cup and other clubs' needs. Arsenal be sniffing around. Liverpool sniffing around. What if Newcastle go, I tell you what, we're doing pretty well. Let's go get another attacker. Cody Gakpo, he's on the market. What if Real Madrid go, we're going to get a player. I think Bayern Munich also interested. If they come in as well and they put the money down, they're attractive options. So what are we doing? We're doing exactly what we did in the summer flex. We're thinking that relationship with Ten Hag's got to be pretty good. We're waiting for the Ten Hag relationship.
It's our only bargaining chip in it, and the fact that we wanted him before, and the fact that we expressed an interest. And
I saw something that went back to he was assistant manager at PSV in like 2009. Erik Ten Hag, and during that time,
was he assistant manager there?
Yeah, and after FC Twente And during that time, he was quite hands-on with the academy. So apparently, I mean, this is where we're going. Apparently, he's got a good relationship with the Gakpo family. At the time, Gakpo would have been about 13.
Yeah,
and I guess he's got a good relationship with his dad. So apparently, he's going to work on that relationship. That's what's going to get us in. I'm thinking the reach. Oh, but if it works, bring him in. That's what we need.
Show Rama says, people hyping up Gakpo too much, in my opinion. He can finish, yes, but his overall game is very, very average. Do you reckon to that?
I mean, obviously, look, you can't judge everyone based on the World Cup. And if you do that, you're probably going to get disappointed. But from what I saw, not necessarily just in performances, but I liked the versatility. That was my biggest takeaway from the World Cup is that in the Louis van Gaal system. And in the Louis van Gaal system, you need to be versatile because he's going to ask you to play 3 or 4 different roles.
Is he going to take us up a level? Would he take us to like part of a new level of what we want to get to?
I don't think that's the requirement for January flex. I think it's just get
no, but past January you have to. But he ain't just come 6 months and go back. So what do you think?
So this is what I always say when it comes to players. How many times this season when we've lost games or drawn games, Erik ten Hag after the game, he always says, "I need more players. I need more attacking players." He's not saying I need world-class players. He's not saying I need talismanic figures. He's saying I need to be able, in a game where we're not playing well or we're losing, to turn to my bench and go, I can bring you on and they can play well, or I can start you and someone will drop out and I can look to them when they're on the bench. How many times this season has Ten Hag looked to his bench and he hasn't made any subs till like the 70th, 75th minute? Because in reality, he's gone, I can't bring anyone on because the people are on the bench. They can't because they can't do anything. He does it all the time. He looks to the bench and goes, no. That's the good thing about Garnacho is that at least when he looks to the bench, he goes, I can bring him on. Yeah, and he can do something.
Yeah, it's people that he actually wants to.
Yeah, I mean, it's my biggest bugbears with transfers is when you say about player interest and they'll go, what about this person? What, he's going to drop out the side? Yes, they are going to drop out the side.
That's what's supposed to happen.
At Man City, look at their bench. They got Jack Grealish on the bench some weeks. Mahrez. Yeah. You know, they've got £100 million players or 50, 60 million pound players. They're not happy about it, but that's why you have to play well, earn your spot in the starting 11.
That's what you need.
Most importantly, you can't just have a starting 11. You need to have players off the bench to bring on. And so many times this season, look at the Europa League. Towards the end, even against people like Sheriff, he was barely rotating because he went, if I rotate, we lose. So I need more players. That's it.
Nearly 600 people nearly 600 people watching live. We haven't even got 100 likes. So can we? I know you've kind of just got engrossed in the chat because the chat is popping off. Everyone's getting involved. We'll read some more comments out in a second. But yes, please do smash a like on the video. Let's at least get to that. Get to 100. Let's do that.
Getting that festive spirit. Give out likes like presents this Christmas.
Yes,
come on.
Exactly. So please do smash a like. Would you take Gakpo for 50 million or Osimhen for 100 million?
Well, I don't think the latter is possible. I think the latter is someone we're going to go for.
Let's add another variable to that. Would you rather get Gakpo for 50 million now or wait to the summer and you can get Osimhen for 100?
I say, why not both? I think both are possible. Why is both not possible? And I think that's the plan.
Yeah, And actually, obviously, you know, when we're on videos, we have to explore everything. We can't just talk about one side of the thing, which is why I'm kind of probing that. Does he take us to the next level? What type of player is he? Is he actually as good as we think? But in reality, I agree with a lot of what you say when you're saying it's about having more options. It's about being more potent, and it's about constructing a well-oiled team with multiple threats. You know, what I like about Gakpo is that, and I know
you watched him live a couple of times, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And people accuse me of this, right?
There we go.
I think when we was about to get Anthony, and they were saying Flex just wants another Dan James, because I was saying, is he fast? Can he get past people? And when I say that, you know, guys, you can either choose to do the superficial thing of thinking I just want another Dan James, or
spending too much time with Rick.
Spend too much time with Rick. Too much WhatsApp messages with Rick.
I'm telling you now, Fleck.
I'm telling you now, Fleck, right? Or football terms, do I mean somebody who is direct and can get at players and is quick and direct, you know? When I look at, again, I keep saying it. When I spoke about Sancho, I speak about some players who might not be at it, or when Rashford wasn't at his best, the reason why, you know, the best players in this league, or the most effective players in this league, because of the playing style and how the league usually is, you have to have a bit about you. If you don't play like City, right, where it's possession based, it's overloads in wide areas, it's underlaps, it's overlaps, it's so many options, it's triangles. If you don't play like that, you need to have players in wide areas, in my opinion, who are at it. Not just running at players. I mean just intensity in runs, whether it's to get back, whether it's to press, whether it's to hound opposition off the ball. They have to have that little bit of, do you know what I mean? And for me, I like my wingers to be able to, knock it past someone and run. I do like my wingers to be able to go left and go right and leave a defender for dead and not just cut in every time, you know? So what my thing is with Gakpo, what I do quite like about him is actually he ticks that box for me of being direct. You see, like when Rashford got on his bike yesterday, right, and with that run.
Just what I was going to say. First half, you got Garnacho and Rashford. They were literally like this.
Do you see what I'm saying? Now, even though the quality wasn't there from Garnacho, right, That will come. He was a constant threat. And this is the thing about the Sancho situation. Sancho wouldn't engage the fullback in this manner. Do you know what I mean? Whoever the right back is against Sancho on the left, they're saying, well, the chances are, unless I get nutmegged really quickly, or someone comes over with Sancho and they bounce a 1-2 off me, like how we scored against Liverpool, and he scored. It's like a 1-2. Was it Arsenal? Can't remember. Right. Unless that happens, I'm going to be fairly comfortable against Jadon Sancho. Right. But if I'm playing against Garnacho already, this kid, as soon as Man United get it, he was on his bike. On his bike.
Should have scored twice last night because of it.
And should have scored twice because of it. So what my thing going back to Gakpo is, which is why I like him, is because I want direct players in our squad. Anthony, is he direct? I'd like him to be more direct. I feel like he's got quick feet. He'll use his quick feet to kind of shimmy out of little positions, but then he hits a point where he stops and then he does come inside, which, look, Aaron Robben used to do that all the time. If you get deadly at doing that kind of thing, you can be unstoppable. I get that.
And he scored goals with that this season doing it.
And he scored goals doing that. But you have to kind of wait to see how consistent he can be doing that. I know KG's on a little bit of an Anthony watch at the minute. Just wants him to just show a little bit of something, soon. And I'm sure he will. But we've already got one like that who on the right-hand side, who's getting at someone, kind of stopping, cutting in. When Rashford was on the right-hand side, albeit it was against Burnley, he was on his bike, just at it, direct, trying to go past people, weaving in and out of traffic. Not just the goal, the willingness to run off the ball, the willingness to work hard off the ball. So that's why I like Gakpo, and that's why I think, again, the profile is more what fits with how we want to be front foot. I know I hate to use Arsenal as an example, but we have to, or I'm going to anyway. I look at Saka and Martinelli, and the reason why they're so effective, and again, watching them both at the World Cup, especially Saka, against France, Saka I thought was the best player on the pitch. He was unbelievable, and he has this ability to just engage fullbacks constantly. Martinelli does the same thing. And look, Arsenal might not win.
Even
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Salah,
Luis
Mane
Diaz.
Used to do it. Diaz.
Mane used to do it. Exactly. Son does it. There's enough examples of players that do this. That just when Sterling's at his best is when he's running. I know it's slowing down now, but when he's at his best, it's when he's running in behind. He's causing problems. He's not the best technically. Saint-Maximin causes absolute havoc. Why? Because he's just at it. And not everyone. And I'm not saying everyone is as skillful as him because he's got fantastic feet. But again, the intensity of what they're playing at. Do you know what I mean? And that's what Sancho has missed. Hence, he's in the position he's in. And that's what players coming forward into this team, especially in wide areas, I want them to be like that. I want us to play like that. Because we ain't going to play like City, are we? We're not going to play pass.
No, and
football.
To your point,
we're going to need difference makers.
That's the point. I think we need different options as well. I can't have all of the same options. So I think if you're right, having an Anthony in the squad's fine if you've got those more direct players, because there are going to be some games where you don't actually need directness. You need a bit more, someone that's got a bit more skill. You need someone a little bit different. We've got a couple of super chats as well. I don't think we've got to. Pre-Tesh says, we're getting Mbappe full KG vibes. We're not. But you never know in the summer. Who knows? Anything's possible, Lil Yo-Yo says, not going to lie, Wan-Bissaka needs to go. His Brock foot is chronic.
Yeah, we read that one. This one, I don't think.
Yeah, there you go. If you think about Eric Ten Hag worked with Laird earlier. I mean, look, I think Ethan Laird thing, I think you made some good points, Fleck. I still would bring him back, but I understand what your point is by you're dropping him in. You're dropping him in at a very deep
middle of the season, deep end, things going on. Imagine then, because you don't really think he's ready. Hence why he's on loan. So if you bring him back and Dalot gets injured, I know you can say sink or swim. You will see fight or flight. But I don't think Eric Ten Hag would want to be in this position. He'd rather use Malacia in that position than put Ethan Laird in. I honestly do think that, because it's not. He doesn't look. He always talks about the right player. He always talks about the right plan, the right time for things with transfers. But I also think he's that meticulous that he wouldn't just abandon his principles and bring back a kid halfway through a season who's been playing champ all year long and doing really well. I don't see it. To go back to that.
And Mike Ron's been a member for 4 months. Appreciate 4 months of support. Says, what are your guys' thoughts on the Thuram rumours? Big up yourselves. Marcus Thuram plays for France. I tell you what. Yeah. Look nice.
Look decent. Yeah. Look good. They got France are stacked, man. The amount of players that they didn't have, and the way I saw them play in the World Cup, I went to a few of their games as well, and obviously the final. They just, I think Deschamps had, he took off Dembele. And when he changed brought Coleman on, when he brought Thuram on.
Well, that was the scary thing. That was a scary thing, was that actually in the final, they got better when they brought on all their young players, and they were at sort of final 11 as they were going in sort of extra time and penalties. Was this really young 11 that you thought, actually 4 years time, shit. Because
100%.
they had like Colomane, Thuram, Kingsley Coman came on. They had a midfielder, Camavinga, Chouamini,
solid.
Fofana. They're all like 21, 22, 23, or in their teens, obviously Mbappe. And you just go, wow.
Yeah, and that's what I did. And ironically, the only downfall to that, we're talking about a little bit of World Cup in France here, but the only downfall to that was actually, ironically, they needed those guys. That type of level of penalty shootout pressure was probably too early for them.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, as soon as I saw Chouamini stepping up, and who else missed? Coleman and players. I just thought, nah, don't fancy them. They actually need Griezmann. They actually need Giroud. Although, they needed the more experiences.
Ousmane Dembele in that final was
he had a bad one. He had a bad
horrific. One. And I tell you what, February, bring it again, please. Bring it again, please.
Yeah, I know, but that's not transparent, because he is a good player, man.
He is a good player. He is a really good player, but he was shocking in the final.
He was really terrible. Bad, but then other games, like he was quite good. He was.
But
really good.
And tell you what, someone we were linked with in the past was Griezmann, and again, the final wasn't reflective of his whole tournament, because he played such a different number 10 role that I think I've seen, whereby he was a 10, but he's also at points a 6. He was at far back, and he did really, really well, which was quite interesting. But yeah, to steer it back to United, who are we talking about?
Thuram.
To
steer it back to United. Who are we talking about?
Ethan Laird. He plays for Mönchengladbach, I think, isn't it? I think, and his contract's expiring or something like that. So you never know. Possibility. Look, as we get into towards January, I don't know if you already noticed it, Flex. Like, it's already started, isn't it? You know, and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be part of the course. But and we'll cover all of it here on United View. Be sure to smash a like. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right hand corner.
I just want to talk about a couple more things, just quickly.
Yes.
Casemiro at centre back. A lot of people were saying he was, he was top tier. He was absolutely brilliant. His reading of the game, his range of passing. I'm not saying I want to see him play there too much at all, obviously, because we know why we bought him. But I think he did navigate the pitch quite well. He did do quite well yesterday.
Yeah.
A couple of wayward passes that were not it at all, which is why he shouldn't be left with too much time on the ball. Don't want to see that. He's not a game setter. Doesn't set the pace of a game. He doesn't dictate pace of game. That's not what he's for. But I do agree. He was in kind of cruise control last night. The only mistakes he made was from his own mess ups in terms of defending properly against the Burnley side, who did okay in transitions. He did well.
It was the right game to play him at centre back as well. If you'd have played old school Burnley, you'd have gone, I know he's a very physical player, but at the same time, you'd have been like,
Barnes and Wood, 4-4-2.
You need to have an experienced player at centre back, to do that kind of game. But no, I thought he did really well. And it does go to show, doesn't it? If you do have a player that is really, really, really comfortable with the ball at their feet at centre back, it really can be a game changer, because it does, just provide something different, have that level of composure. So, no, I thought he did well last night. I don't think it's a thing going forward. I think it's a case of we have one centre back.
No. Yeah, and someone was saying, I don't know if it was a comment on Twitter or if it was a comment on here yesterday. They were saying, what do you think of McTominay? Because of the type of game he had yesterday. And I just think back to, sometimes you get bad timing of things, because in the interview that he gave before, he was talking about getting forward more, and I know I can score goals, and it's a challenge, and I can do this. If you do the right things, you can do that. And you see McTominay he's good at getting into those type of positions. He's good at timing his runs into the box. He's good at arriving in those situations. And then you look at the execution of things like yesterday. He gave the ball away a couple of times, which that's fine. That happens. He does that a bit. But if we're talking about trying to be a goal scoring midfielder, and he just didn't really do it, did he? He didn't have a great game yesterday.
No, he had an opportunity. I forget what it was. It was a good move. I think it was a ball. It might have been from Bruno over to Rashford. And he sets it, and it's like for a box-to-box midfielder, it is like the
Lampard
opportunity.
Perfection.
You're running onto it, and you just think, get good connection, get it on target, you'll score, because you've already had this big run up. It's a training drill, pretty much. They do that in training all the time. Crossfield ball, set it, you arrive edge of the box, test the keeper, and he's blasted over the bar, and you just go, it wasn't. He didn't play very well last night. But just to go back to the Casemiro thing at centre back, Ed here says, if we're honest, as much as I don't rate him, I think Harry Maguire could have done a similar job last night.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I think that's true. I think you have to be careful of like praising the novelty of Casemiro's at centre back and he did a great job. And you go, actually, you know, the centre backs were largely unoccupied for the majority of the night.
And this is the thing. Sometimes people could see this as like disrespectful to like Championship teams, which it isn't. It's saying it as it is. You know, we gave a lot of praise to Burnley in terms of their top of the league. You know, look at the stats they had about keeping the ball. They was up there with some of the best in Europe. You know, and the Championship is one hell of a tough league to get out of. So you can only play what's in front of you. And that's why I even said it before the game. Remember when I was saying like this could be a banana skin? I'm worried about this. We don't know how we're going to turn back. And Burnley are going to play on the front foot. And they did. I think Gary Neville said it in his sum up. He goes, actually, Man United played in like kind of second gear and could have gone up gears. And the difference between the two teams was that when Burnley had chances, they couldn't really convert. And when we did, we were clinical. You know, that was and largely, you know, obviously we got better players. But when our players turn up and play to a certain level against that Burnley side, Man United should win the game.
Yeah, and I like that. And I like the fact that
but they still have to perform. It's not a God-given right.
I like the fact that they were playing in like almost third gear. But the difference is in the past, United would do a performance like that, and you would question, I don't know if they've got a gear to go up. I think they actually struggled through that game. Whereas last night, you did have the feeling of actually, you know what, if the pressure increased a little bit, they just snap into it.
Well, look, last year we went out to, was it Middlesbrough?
That was FA Cup. We went out to West Ham last year because we just beat them.
So that's it. So we went out to West Ham first.
But Middlesbrough in the FA Cup is a good example because we couldn't. It didn't look like we could go up a gear. We just couldn't.
No, we were struggling. Exactly. Was that on pens?
Yeah, and then we had the penalty given against us. No, we had the goal whereby it hit the striker's hand, like way up from his body, and it would be disallowed today.
Is that the one where Bruno missed that chance and then Faz wouldn't ever forgive him as well?
Yeah, Bruno missed it.
It was that
the chance.
He missed a clear cut. Well, we had chances we definitely should have won, and we just kept missing chances.
Yeah.
So, but my point being is that those games can be banana skins. You either don't take your chances, you give the dubious goal, you know, bad decision from the ref, VAR didn't step in, or if there's no VAR in them rounds, you know, those games can go wrong. You know, a team that's fearless like Burnley, playing good football, completely different. You know, they don't just play 4-4-2, lump it up, Sean Dyche. They will give, you know, that Benson was causing problems. You know, that was a banana skin, but we didn't make it look like one. And although that's, you know, the teams that are doing well, so Man City fans would laugh at us and say, look at them. That's how far the mighty have fallen. Fuck that. Excuse me to so early in the morning, actually. Sorry.
Flex.
Forget that.
Flex.
Forget that. From how far we've been, from where we've been to where we want to get to, those are the foundations that need to start being built first before you even get up to those levels. Dispatching of teams when you show up with the right attitude and have a comfortable evening at home, no matter who it is, you know? Lil Yo says, Fleck, if you love the African games, imagine being at the next AFCON. I don't think I could handle that. That would be insane. The African fans are wicked, man. Honestly, such a good vibe. I hope Martial stays fit. And with Gakpo, the forward line would be fluid. Glory, United view.
Flex, can we talk about Erik ten Hag's comments about Sancho after the game last night, or the lack thereof?
Let's do that now. Before we do those, over nearly 700 watching. See if we can get to 700. Tell a friend. Hit the like button, hit the share button. And let's see, how many likes are we on as well? Can we push that up? We're on 148. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's get to that 300 mark. Let's get to 300. So, do all that good stuff. Jadon Sancho, go.
Yeah, so after the game last night, Erik ten Hag was asked, can you give us an update on when Jadon Sancho will be back with the Manchester United squad? And Erik ten Hag went, no. And that was it. And you know what? I like that. I like that. I prefer... there's nothing more to say on that because he got a couple of questions last night. He got another one about Ronaldo, which was, can you talk about Ronaldo exit? And he basically said, you had the opportunity to ask that in Spain. You didn't. We've moved on. And that's what he is. But I think, what is there more to say with the Sancho thing? I mean, that is worth putting out there in the public. I mean, I'm sure there are things he could say, but what benefit is that after you've just got through to the Carabao Cup? Is it quarterfinals we're through to now? Whatever. But, you know, they're asking, what, have you got an update on Sancho? No, I don't. Or can you tell us when we're back? No. You know, what I could sit here and speculate, but that's not fair. So I'm not going to do it, you know?
Yeah.
But like you said last night and KG said, and I said, when I asked you, when do you think Sancho will be back? I.e., like, Do you think he's going to play another game in the next 9 days this year? Because they've got like 4 games before we get into 2023. And your answer was no. You both said you don't think he'd be back to like late Jan, maybe early Feb, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely something. It's definitely next year. It's not. He ain't coming back like before the end of the year, because he has to be in training for him to be coming back before the end of the year, which is now. The end of the year is now. He needs to be training now and in the squad now. I don't see it. I don't see that happening and the games are really close together. Do you know what I mean? Up to the 31st, is it? Or when are our games? I forgot. But
27th, 31st, 3rd and 6th.
Right. Great memory. Exactly. Those games are really close together. So to bring him in that jam-packed period, he's going to have to prove a lot. Yeah, 27th, yeah. Then the Wolves game on 31st. Then the 3rd is Bournemouth at home. Yeah, and so on and so forth. Exactly. He's not going to be here anytime soon. Yeah, and you're not going to bring him into this jam-packed period of high turnaround of games. But I just think Erik ten Hag's played it right. And now you've set your stall out and said what the issues are. You don't say anything. You can't give a prognosis. You can't say when you think he'll be back, because actually the truth of the matter is I don't think Erik ten Hag knows. It depends on Jadon Sancho, doesn't it? It depends on
Sancho doesn't know either.
Yeah, and I know I always go back to this quote, because I just loved it. Because at the time, it just stayed with me of like, I'm so glad this guy's coming here. When he said, I can look any player in the eye 100% with my decisions. I can't remember the exact quote, but remember when he said, I'm not afraid to make big decisions, essentially.
And he's not.
Things like this. So in reality, Jadon Sancho is not coming back until he can look him in the eye and see through him and say, yeah, you're ready. You know what I mean? Obviously, also, in training, he's got to show it as well. But
it might be a player thing. It might be like, again, those reports when they said that Ten Hag could see the decline, and I'm not sure if that's just the eye test or statistically, probably a bit of both. Yeah. But it might also be a thing when he had that conversation with Sancho going, look, I know I'm way off it. And maybe it's a case of the player almost having to go to the manager and say, you know what, I feel like I'm getting back to where I need to be. I feel like I'm, getting there. So I think it's kind of a collaborative thing too. Yeah. And as I touched on last night, exactly.
Like, why are you sending me away?
What we're talking about? It's like I know.
To delete his Instagram, that's a big sign. Like I know, older fans or stuff can say, "Oh, social media this and social media." For a young player in this era to just get rid of it, that shows you.
And that might come from the club and the player as well. Just go, you know what? Get rid of it.
Let's agree on this whole strategy. Jump off of socials. Don't be seen out everywhere. Don't just focus on football and yourself and your mental well-being and your physical well-being and get the best version of yourself.
He was training at an amateur club in the Netherlands as well. And I thought almost that was quite telling, because sometimes you just need to be a little reminder of where it all starts in football.
You're not in Dubai with all the...
You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It's not one-on-one training. You're in, cold, you're in cold, in the Netherlands, in a tiny stadium on facilities that are okay. But just because everyone starts somewhere, you know what I mean? Everyone starts on that Sunday League football pitch where you roll your ankle every 5 seconds, or in this weather, it's freezing. You have to do sprints to sort of, firm up the pitch or whatever. Sometimes that's a thing too. So I think the only thing that I said it slightly disappointed me is some of the reactions that I've seen on.
Sorry, Ed said deleting Instagram for anyone under 25 is like giving up a kidney. And that's what I mean. Like in what I was saying, that that is quite a significant thing to just
100%. The only thing that's, like I said, has disappointed me slightly is just this. And maybe it's the sort of minority on social media, but there is just almost this sentiment of, write him off. And then clearly can't hack it at Manchester United. You go, whoa. When did it come back in the players whilst they're still under contract? We don't know the full situation, what's going on with Jadon Sancho.
Last year.
Yeah, exactly. And look at him now, and people are raving about him now. And they'll be like, see? And this is the pressure I put on him. And then he turned it around. Marcus Rashford didn't turn around for your benefit. He turned around for his benefit and Manchester United's benefit. And again, with Jadon Sancho, we don't know the full situation that's going on. So what we can do is support him. And when he comes back, hopefully he comes back as the best version of himself. But in that meantime, we don't put pressure on him going, look at you, you're weak, you're over there training, your mentality is rubbish, this, that, and the other, because we don't know. And that's not fair. And maybe the whole point of getting off social media is to get away from all that. Because the last thing you need, if you're in a bit of a low spot, is people screaming at you and shouting at you, telling you're weak or you're not good enough to play for Manchester United. He's got the backing of his family, his friends, and his coach as well. You know, so
it's got a backing from the most important people, it seems. You know,
exactly.
And I think all we can do now is, you know, the answer will come out of whether, you know. I think I tweeted it. I said this is the choice point of his career. He either comes back better than he's ever been, looking refreshed, looking rejuvenated, looking with a bit between his teeth, and we see a different Jadon Sancho, and we praise Erik ten Hag and we praise Jadon Sancho, and happily ever after. Or he never recovers and comes back and was like how he was before, and then it's a different conversation. But until those things happen, there's nothing we can say, is there? There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can predict. We don't know how he's going to react to this.
Yeah.
But the early signs would suggest that get rid of your social media, knuckle down. We don't hear from you. To me, that's no news is good news. Do you know what I mean?
No, I totally agree. And I mean, I can see one of the comments there from Ninth Earth says, Ronaldo got that every day. Why does it have to be different for Sancho? Well, Jadon Sancho hasn't done an interview with Piers Morgan saying, you know, and he didn't walk out the stadium.
What?
It's a different, it's apples to oranges comparison. You know what I mean?
Come on, Ninth Earth, man. Was that what we're doing? Trying to say that Jadon Sancho should be getting the treatment that Ronaldo got? That's insane. You can't. Come on, you can't mean that, Ninth Earth, man. I don't. Is that? Does he mean it like that? Do they mean it like that? Ronaldo got that every day. Why does it have to be? Yeah, you do mean it like that. Yeah, I don't. Those two are not comparable in any shape or form. Whether it's what they've done in the game or how they've, you know, what
and
they've
again
done at the club.
With that Ronaldo stuff, look, we've touched on it very, very briefly, and we don't really need to talk about it anymore. But as Ten Hag said it yesterday, like it's done, it's over. It's now been done for a while. You know, his contract was terminated in like the first few days of the World Cup. You know, it's it. That's it. It's done. It's over. It's finished.
Ronaldo did the interview after being bullied by fans and media, says Michael. Fair enough. Michael believes that, you know, the reason, you know, Ronaldo felt really, you know, bullied and stuff like that, felt that, you know, why do people think that, you know, I'm not better looking than Wayne Rooney at this age? I definitely am. I'll prove it. I look better than him. Yeah. Come on. Anyway, no more Ronaldo chat. He ain't our player anymore. He is a legend. All of his stuff that he achieved for us is there for us all to see. If you go on stadium,
100%. It doesn't change. It doesn't change the past, you know. And again, the soreness of those last couple of weeks or whatever, they'll disappear after a few years. I'm sure of it. And it doesn't change the fact that he's one of the greatest players of all time. 100%, 1,000,000%. That will never, ever, ever, ever change because you can't change.
Can't change. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you for watching this morning. That has been your morning view. We'll be back again very, very soon. Tomorrow morning, actually. With more news, with more info, more therapy, more jokes and more laughs. So yeah, big up to everyone. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you want to join the members club, make sure you do that. Link is in the video description below.
New content coming soon. I've seen the next 2 episodes of UV Raw, and I tell you what, Flex, one of them, this is a spoiler, but it's brilliant because you lived it. One of them is the Man City game at the Etihad, right? And you're driving up there and you go, oh, I'm feeling a bit nervous. I'll call Marcel. And so you're talking to Marcel and he's going, Flex, we're going to win. We've beaten these other teams this season. We've beaten Arsenal. We've beaten Liverpool. We've beaten Spurs. Now's the time to shut up the noisy neighbours. And then it cuts to Marcel sitting outside the Etihad on like a little thing and he's shaking his head going, we're miles off it. We're miles off it.
Yeah, on that plug, make sure you guys watch the next episode of UV Raw. Obviously in the members only. Actually, what we'll do as well, we'll share that clip as well for you guys to see.
Yeah,
do a clip tomorrow. We'll put it in the morning view show for you, so you can see kind of what you've been missing out on. I do remember that actually. I forgot. VK says Sancho is 99% mental and 1% physical. He'll be back for the better in the long run if he sorts himself out. Yeah, a bit of positivity there from VK as well. Guys, yeah, see you tomorrow at morning view settings. We're out of here. Peace.